Want to own an Audi, however you want to call it. You know, this car with 4 rings on it. That's what you want, right? So yeah, you know, most Audis you see on the road are freaking super clean, unless somebody didn't take care of it. But generally speaking, Audis are some of the best looking cars of the German fleet, in my opinion. I like the BMW stuff. The Mercedes stuff is definitely not my taste. But to me, Audi just kind of grabbed me when I looked at it and I saw it. So the first Audi I bought was an A7. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So I got the car. I'm gonna be a little bit transparent. I got the car in 2016. It was a three-year-old car. It was a dealer car, so it was never technically owned by an individual. So the car was in like really good shape. The interior was like immaculate. I couldn't believe that a 3-year-old car had an interior that looked like that. So I was really impressed with the interior. At the time I didn't know it, but Audis in general have really good interior overall. But just the trimming, like the leather, make sure I got everything for work. I got my badge. Never want to leave home without your badge and make it to work without it. That sucks. But anyway, so I was really impressed with the car. I got into it for what I thought was a good price. I got into it under $40,000. At the time, I looked at the sticker price. I still had the sticker of this car. It was like $68,000 on the original sticker. So I got into this car, I would say, right at almost a $30,000 discount. So I'm like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So when we did the paperwork, the guy was like, what warranties do you want? I was like, man, I don't want warranties, man. I'm like, I always had Honda, so you never really need a warranty on a Honda. So I was like, you know what, man, let me go ahead and get this warranty. He said, man, I tell you what, the thing you're gonna need the most, for sure, is gonna be the tire warranty. I'm glad I listened to him. Then he said, what about the mechanical warranty? So I got it. And I spent like $4,000 on it, $4,000. And I'll be totally honest with you, this car did not give me any problems other than an AC compressor switch issue. And that got fixed under warranty. It was like $300. The warranty covered it. Wasn't a big deal. And then I had the engine mount to fail under warranty. So Audi fixed the engine mount, Audi fixed the AC compressor, and then the tire warranties will really pay me dividends, because when I first got this car, it had brand new tires on it. They were Pirellis. But for some reason, I always got nails. I can't say I got nails because of Pirelli, but obviously that would be silly. But for whatever reason, man, I just kept getting nails. And just random on the corner where tire shops won't repair it. So I got like 3 tires replaced under warranty. So that definitely was a good deal. And then I had the rims recoated, so all of the rims were starting to peel a little bit. So I got the rims recoated under that warranty. So I really appreciated that warranty, and it worked out for me. But the mechanical warranty, other than the engine mount replacement and the what do you call it? The AC compressor part replacement, nothing actually really went wrong with the car. And that warranty was really a waste of money, to be honest. And this warranty covered me from around 40,000 miles to 100,000 miles. And actually I got to the 4-year or 5-year, whatever it was. I got to that time frame before the warranty got to the miles. So the mechanical warranty did not work out for me. But I want you to listen closely, because now I'm about to get into what really happened. So like I said, this car really didn't give me any issues up until around the 90,000 mile range. And that's when things started to go, a little haywire. So I think the first thing that happened after the manufacturer warranty, or after my extended warranty was expired, was engine mounts. And I'm like, hey, we just talked about engine mounts. So my local Audi shop made me realize that, I thought my car had a bigger issue. It was just running really, really rough. And come to find out, I thought it was like a carbon clean issue. Come to find out, it had nothing to do with carbon. It was my engine mounts, and the car was just vibrating in a weird way. So when I got the engine mounts replaced, everything was like really smooth, like a brand new car. But the cost was pretty significant. And I'm going to, if I can find a video, I'm going to post it, or find the receipt, I'm going to post it. But I want to say it was close to $2,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. Changed both engine mounts out. So I'm like, okay, $2,000. So let's move on a little bit. So then some time passes by. You know, everything seems cool. And then the car comes in with this, you know, check engine light. And the codes were kind of weird. Come to find out, I did another video about it. It was the intake actuator flap basically stuck closed. And like I said, I have a whole video about that. I'm gonna post the link here. But that thing cost me $1,000 in parts, and I did the work myself. So there was no shop involved. There was a little bitty diaphragm that works on vacuum. The part's like an $80 part. I found one on Rock Auto or Parts Geek. Found one on Parts Geek for like $80. The other one was out of stock, and it's still out of stock to this day. And that was a couple years ago. You can only get the entire assembly from Audi at a cost of like $1,000. And I even got a little discount on it because I went through a friend of mine who's a mechanic to get it. But again, that's basically $1,000 repair, and it was a supercharger removal. So I did the work myself, and I spent $1,000 on the repair. And then, along with that same issue, after I got that fixed, I realized I had another problem with the car. One of the catalytic converters failed, and it didn't fail in such a way where, you know, the cap plugged up or the honeycomb went bad. There was a little bitty weld joint where Audi welded a flange for the downpipes to the catalytic converter, and they just did a shitty job. I'm sorry. They did a really bad job on putting that together. So it ended up costing me about $3,500 to get that fixed. And then, let me see. I'm trying to remember some of the crap that happened on this car, because there's so much crap that happened after the warranty expired on me. So then, I remember the shop telling me that, okay, that's what it was. One day, remember this is my wife's car, so my wife's driving the car, and she tells me that it's making a funny noise. I gotta give it to her. She's very sensitive about her car. She can tell me, she might be able to tell me what it is, but she can tell me something's not right. So I listened to it. I find out that the crank pulley harmonic balancer is turning in a weird pattern and is making a noise. So I take it to the shop, and then they tacked on a couple other charges with that, and it was like another $2,000 bill. And then you fast forward 2 years later, which was actually just a few weeks ago, the harmonic balancer went out again, the same part. This time I changed it because I wasn't going through another $2,000 repair shop. So I changed the harmonic balance pulley, I changed all the idlers and all the tensioners on this car. And actually, it's been smoother than when the shop did it. So I'm not bragging on myself. Yeah, I am a little bit. But my point is, you can do some of the stuff yourself, but it's still going to cost you. So I spent $700 in parts on doing that job myself, and it took the better part of like the whole day. Between taking the bumper off, putting the car in service position, I had to get the tires off to get into service position, and just between all of that mess, and then actually getting the part off, which is not very easy to get off. Working in tight spaces in Audis, it took me pretty much a whole day to get that done. So that was another little thing that happened. Let's talk about brakes. We're gonna talk about brakes a little bit. So the brakes on this car, again, it's not like any other. So I've done brakes on every car I've owned. Every single car I've owned, I've done the brakes myself. Mustang, Honda, Acura RSX, Acura TL, Ford F-150, Ram 1500. Like, I've even worked on some Super Duty stuff. Never had a problem doing brakes. I did the brakes on the Audi myself, and I did not do the best job. So something did not go right in some kind of way. I caused an issue where I thought I had a bigger issue. I did go to the shop. The shop figured out that I mangled up a little clip, and the caliper wouldn't retracting correctly. So again, my fault, but for the most part, if brakes go bad on one of these cars, and I mean I'm just talking pads and rotors, stock rotors are going to cost you around $300 to $500 a piece, and then the labor and all that stuff, you're looking at about $1,500 for the front and $1,500 for the back. The brakes on the back I did myself. It was actually really easy. You did need VCDS or whatever software you use to retract the brake calipers. Basically, so the brakes kind of go in a service position as well. That was actually really easy. It was actually easier than doing like a Honda or something. So I did that, and I would spend like $80 on the brakes, and then that's the first time I bought the VCDS, so I spent like $300. So that was no big deal. But the front brakes were a little bit tricky, and it's not like a Brembo style. It's not like, you know, any other just regular piston brake you used to. It's a lot different. Oil changes are, I would say, the easiest oil change I've ever done on any vehicle if you do a extraction method. If you do the extraction method, you basically just put a dipstick or a sucker rod into the dipstick hole, and you just suck the oil out with an oil extractor. And then a filter, if you got, you know, any kind of mechanical ability, you can just take the filter cap housing off and change out 2 O-rings and pop a new filter in there. So it's a really easy oil change. So I wouldn't even get wound up about the oil change. Now, if you go do it from the bottom, it's still an easy oil change per se, but there's a few covers you got to take off, and that could be a little bit annoying because Audi chose to use like all these random different fasteners. But most car manufacturers are going to stick to the same fastener and put your covers on the bottom. Audi's got like 3 or 4 different fasteners, and they all it's kind of like putting a puzzle back together while you're laying on your back, unless you have a lift, which most people don't have a lift. But oil changes are not bad. You're going to spend about $80 if you do it yourself, buying a high quality oil, you know, liquid moly, Motul, even like your higher tier Castrols or whatever Mobil 1. You're going to spend about $80 on oil and maybe $10-12 on a filter. But that's not bad. I can deal with a $90 oil change. That's not going to kill me. But you compare it to any other car, you're looking at about a $40 oil change. Now Audi tells you that you can go 10,000 miles. I don't really agree with that. Yes, the oil can hold up, but you know, that's a whole different discussion that I will get into another day. See what else I got? Battery. So the battery in this car is not a battery you can just plug and play. There's some few things you're supposed to do, like there's some coding. You're not supposed to just, you know, roll up to O'Reilly's and snatch the battery out of this car and slap a new one in. Like it just doesn't work like that. You actually need VCDS software or coding software to go in and like recode the battery. So this car is like an energy management system, and it knows when there's a new battery, and you can confuse it. It's like, come on, man, is that really necessary? So that's another little caveat that you might want to know. Another thing I have not gotten into is my thermostat water pump PCV. So these cars, and this is all Audis with the 3.0T, all of these cars have this flaw, I call it. They have this really like giant thermostat situation. Most cars have a little bitty round thermostat. These cars have this big monstrosity of a thermostat, and also the PCV system is really big, and they fail over time. And when they fail, you can end up with cooling in your oil, which everybody knows how bad that can be. You can also get a bunch of fault codes when your PCV does fail. It sounds like a freight train. And again, to do the work on any 3.0T, you got to take the supercharger off to get the thermostat and water pump and PCV. So that's another expensive repair that's going to cost you over $1,000. So I know it sounds like I'm going on and on in this video, but the things I'm saying, I really want you to hear. So back to my original question. Have I even finished talking about all the crap that's going wrong yet? I may have mentioned the control arms or control arm bushings already, but that's another job that most people, even including myself, I cannot change the bushings on the control arm without special tools that I don't have. I'm not saying I couldn't do it, but I don't have the tools to do that. So that's another item that I took to the shop, and also the amount of labor that it takes, having to lift, access to lift, things like that. That's a job of just better taking it to the shop, but again, it's going to cost you over $1,000. So we can talk about tires. Tires in this car have actually not been bad for me. I've actually been able to always find a good set of tires under $1,000 for all four. So I personally put 2 sets of tires on this car. In 100,000, based on 100,000 miles, I bought 2 sets of tires. And remember, when I got the car, it had a brand new set of Pirellis on it. So I guess you could say I'm somewhere around 40,000 miles a set, something like that. So right now I got 120,000 miles on the car, and I've had 3 sets of tires since I've owned it. So somewhere around there. But anyway, let's get back to my original point, if I'm looking at my list, and finish talking about all the other bull crap I've been through. Alright, so back to the point. Can you really own, or can you really afford that Audi? Okay, let's talk about affordability. So yes, you can afford the note, or you might have enough cash to buy it outright, whatever you choose to do. 30,000, 40,000, 45,000. Most people can afford that. But when something breaks on it, it's like you got to pay for it. And if you don't have a warranty, you got to pay out of pocket. So most people cannot afford to absorb $1,000 bill while they also have a car note. So what happens? You end up getting in debt. And when you get in debt, it's kind of like just a double-edged sword. It's kind of, it spirals out of control on you. And then when you're trying to catch up from one debt to another debt, and then something else breaks on the car, you get frustrated, you get angry, your feelings change about the car. So overall, what I can say about an Audi is how awesome the car is as far as drivability, like its driving experience. It's one of the nicest cars I've ever driven in my life. I have driven some BMWs in the past, and I like the BMWs, like I said. But compared to the Japanese cars, driving an Audi is just an amazing experience in comparison. From acceleration to like the way they can curve, the way they handle on the highway on a long trip. I can also tell you that this car can get 30 miles to a gallon on the highway if you're not driving like 90 miles an hour. So if you stick around 75, 80 miles an hour on the highway, this car can get 30 miles to a gallon in a supercharged V6, which I think that's impressive, because even my V6 Accord could not get 30 miles to a gallon. And it was just a coupe. This is a full 4-door car with a huge trunk in the back. So I'd like to say that I do respect the engineering behind Audis. Having owned one for as long as I've owned one, I can't say that I would necessarily buy another one in my current financial situation. I can actually afford to spend money on a car like this, but I'm at a point now where I don't want to give my money away for something that's that stupid. Like it's becoming stupid to me. Like, to me, it's becoming stupid to spend hard-earned money on car repairs when there are other vehicles out there that, to me, would give me a similar experience. So I'm not going to totally talk trash about Japanese cars, because everybody knows Japanese cars basically don't break. I mean, generally speaking, they don't break. And don't come at me about Japanese cars breaking, because I know there's some really crappy Japanese cars out there that do break. But that's also a topic for another video. I think there are some trim levels of cars they were designed for economy, and they suck. But when you stick to like your Honda Accords, your Nissan Maximas, you stick to your Toyota Camrys, your Avalons, those cars are very robust, and if they're maintained, they're going to take care of you. And then if something does break on them, you know, a $3,000 repair is like an entire motor replacement. So like on an Audi, a $3,000 repair is like changing some parts out. So in comparison, you know, going forward, you know, I don't want to work my whole life to just fix cars. Yeah, I do want to ride clean. Yeah, like I always said, it costs to be the boss. But you just have to remember, you know, everything. There's kind of like a limit to everything. There's a limit to how much I'm going to spend on the car. There's a limit to how much I want to spend on the car and maintenance as well. So, can you really afford that Audi? Can you really afford that pre-owned Audi? You know, I have a good friend of mine. He always says, if you're going to spend that much, you might as well buy a new one. And I've argued him in some cases, and I would consider myself right. But in some cases, he's actually right. In some cases, if you want to spend $40,000 on purchasing the vehicle, but then over the next 6 or 7 years, you're going to spend $20,000 financing that, repairing that vehicle, you've actually spent $60,000, you know, since you own that vehicle, and you might as well have spent $60,000 on a brand new one, so to speak. Because if you found one for $68,000, and you know, depending on the market, the economy, all that kind of stuff, you probably could have gotten that $68,000 car for maybe what, 64, 62, something like that. And overall, you would have been able to pay the same amount of money, have a much better customer experience, and you know, I think it works out that way. So for those of you who watched the end of this video, I think I saved the best concept for last. Let me know what you guys think. I'm trying to do a better job of speaking, communicating. There's a lot of things I want to discuss going forward on my channel. There's a lot of knowledge that I have personally about cars. As some people know, I went to school for engineering. So there's a lot of things I just know in general. And I want to start sharing my knowledge, and I hope to develop a good relationship with you guys, my followers, because if you guys don't follow me, it's kind of no point in me doing this. So I want you to give me real feedback. You won't hurt my feelings. I'm a big boy, so give me real feedback and let me know what else you guys want to hear about. And I appreciate your time, especially the people who watched the end of this video. So I'm going to wrap it up from right here. Peace out. See you on the next episode of Car Motion 101. Peace.